doubled my pack and brought in some new members to talk through the issues.
Let's see what's going on here, folks. Let's see. Let's go.
Jack Diamond. I want to focus on this exchange. Do you think that it's unfair that only the man who's accused gets named? Do you think it would be right to change the law?
I think both sides should definitely be anonymous.
Until a point of conviction?
Of course, because...
Because if the law did that, the papers couldn't have mentioned your name. Nobody would have known it was you. You would have been acquitted and no one would have known anything about it. Well, here to discuss that is my pack, as I said, the YouTuber and commentator Pearl Davis, Associate Editor of The Mirror, Kevin Maguire. Kevin, it's complicated, this issue. I don't pretend it isn't. I've interviewed a few people who've been in this position, but listening to this guy, he's a young man. He was 19 when this first happened. He's met someone on Tinder, which is the way a lot of young people meet other sexual partners these days. But for a year, they're seeing each other. And then, according to him, and he's been cleared, and so I think his version is the credible one, he says they just had a slight disagreement. She was annoyed that he didn't want to have sex with her. She left in a bit of a mood. And the next thing, the police turn up. And his life is completely upended. You're a Sunderland fan, actually.
Yeah, he played for us a couple of dozen times. He on loan a lot. I think he's at Carlisle now as he tries to rebuild his career.
But what about his argument that why should she, who it turned out made false allegations, very serious ones, why should she remain anonymous to the point we can't say who it is? But he has been named immediately that he was charged, splashed all over the papers, splashed all over the television, suspended by his club, lost his job for the interim period until the trial, then gets cleared in 7 minutes by the jury, who clearly are having none of this. Why should he be forever tainted with this?
Piers, in these cases, because a jury finds you not guilty, doesn't mean the person has lied. That's not the automatic side. It's got to be a case beyond all reasonable doubt.
Well, it means I didn't believe that.
That's crazy.
I have huge sympathy for him through what he's gone through, but I don't accept creeping private justice where you don't know. For instance, people are arrested now, and you can't report, you can't know they've been arrested.
But
that's
his point is unfair.
He's innocent. He's innocent. We've got to accept he's innocent now. He's gone through a terrible time that I get.
Why would a woman not do it again if there's no consequence for her doing it?
But look,
I mean,
this is a problem right here. This guy right here is the problem. This guy right here. You see this right here? That's what we call the simp. Right here. It's not women. Women are another problem, folks. See, you get it in wrong. Women are not the problem. This guy right here are the problem. Right here. Guys like this are the problem. Why? Because they basically nullify or protect or safeguard women's accountability, folks. This guy right here. See? Clearly, the girl did something wrong. She false accused the guy with E-part. And all of a sudden, we cannot even see how she looks like, who was this person. Because people like him want to still protect her. Listen carefully, folks.
Bad behavior.
No. If the police and the Crown Prosecution Service believe you've deliberately made up allegations, you will be prosecuted, and there are cases, and then those women are named.
But, Pearl, a jury of 12 people took 7 minutes. I mean, some juries take 7 days. They took 7 minutes to find for this young man, who I have to say, when I interviewed him, I found him extremely, he was very polite, respectful.
Probably a very nice guy,
him, and I felt so sorry for him. He's going to be one of my sons. He's been through utter hell, and yet nobody knows anything about who this girl is. I'm not saying for a moment she should be named and shamed.
I would.
Well, I'm sure.
I would.
I mean, some women probably do feel that, actually.
I mean, I think if we keep allowing women to weaponize the justice system against men, why would they stop? Why would they stop? There has to be some.
Yeah, good point. Even for the guy, he's like, man, she's right, bro. She's right.
consequence
Look at the
for
simp.
women that ruin men's careers.
Prosecutions, successful prosecutions where rape is reported is incredibly low. There is a
Yep.
huge problem. Now, I'm setting aside the diamond case for a moment. It is incredibly difficult to prove, and there are very few prosecutions. Now, you can just say all women are just making
that's because
complaints
they
freely.
changed, but they
No,
changed
they
it.
are not.
Well, in a
The-
way,
the
we're having
problem is
we're having a slightly different debate.
We
And
are, all
we'll
right.
come to that. On the specifics, Pearl, his argument is, why should he be named until or if he's convicted? That he wants anonymity for both sides, the accuser and the accused, until there is a verdict.
That's a good
I think
point.
it should
Why
either
not?
be they're both public or they're both private.
Right.
I agree.
That's a
agree.
good point,
I
yeah.
don't think it's fair that you can accuse someone of a crime, you completely ruin their career, and there's no consequence for
What
you
the police
if
will
it
say,
doesn't go through
the
with
police
it.
will say that when you get some of these cases, quite a few probably, the naming of the alleged rapist often leads many other victims to come forward, and we've seen that happen. There's no doubt that can be a key factor
Yeah.
in persuading other victims. Suddenly you have a mass serial rapist. So that's the argument from the police as to why they want to name
Okay.
people who are accused, because they want to encourage potential other victims to come
And
forward.
I understand the thought process, but I just see nowadays, I mean, nobody believes anyone that comes forward with this kind of thing because so many women abuse the system.
They abuse the
So
system.
what they're doing now, it's not working.
A system that was built to protect them is now being overused with false allegations. That's a problem, folks.
And I'm not sure what exactly the solution is, but I think what he's proposing is more fair than what they have right now.
It does seem
And
the
the
least. It
problem
does
is-
seem the least you can do, frankly. I mean, I've interviewed another young man last year, who'd been despicably framed by a complete fantasist who'd attacked herself and claimed that he had done it, and so on. And
She's in jail now.
she's in jail
Yeah.
now. She was held accountable.
And we know who she is.
Yeah.
She was pictured.
Yeah,
So she did not have anonymity.
No,
found she was
and
a
to Pearl's
fantasist.
point, she did get named, shamed, and,
Yeah.
and brought
But
accountable.
I
for her
interview
actions.
men that this
Look,
happens to all the time in family court.
Really?
This is I'm doing a documentary on divorce, and this is really common in family court. It's different than criminal court. But the problem is they changed the definition of rape. It used to be forced sex. Now it's sex without consent. It makes it more broad, and it makes it easier for women to
But the-
prosecute.
That's
In
insane.
Diamond,
Wow.
The case that needs to be answered is why the Crown Prosecution Service took the case. It's dismissed in 7 minutes because there needs to bring a case, a realistic prospect
Okay.
of a
Let's
conviction.
bring in Paula Roan, Adrian, a Talk TV contributor and a family lawyer. Paula, I mean, it really did make me feel uncomfortable, this interview, because it's the second one like it I've done in the last few months. And both times you've got young men who were completely fitted up, it seems, both eventually cleared, but will never have their name properly cleared. You know, this poor guy, the first game back he plays, the fans are chanting abuse at him about being a rapist.
That's
He's
crazy,
gonna get
man.
that the rest of his career. Doesn't seem right. Why can't he remain
That's insane.
anonymous, like all rape accusers remain anonymous until or if he's convicted?
Well, we know why that is because it's not about why we compare the defender or the defendant, forgive me, to the potential victim, the alleged victim. It's comparing the defendant to other defendants in cases. We don't say, for example, to somebody who has been accused of an attempted murder, or somebody who's been accused of abusing a child, or somebody who's been accused of armed robbery, that they should automatically get anonymity. And of course, those are incredibly serious allegations as well. But you're asking me
Yeah, but
about
hang on.
whether...
When you accuse someone of attempted murder, we know who's doing the accusing. That they're not given anonymity. It's only in
Good point.
sexual cases like rape and serious sexual assault that the accusers retain anonymity throughout the whole process. And his argument is, well, why can't that apply to the people being accused? And if they're found guilty, then name and
So
shame
be it.
them to your heart's content. They should be. But if they're then acquitted, then nobody would ever know that they were accused of something they didn't do.
And Piers, don't get me wrong, it's not that I don't appreciate the sensitivity of this, of course I do. But what you're asking the criminal justice system to do is to essentially pay lip service to what is a distressing situation for everybody. And I understand because
Well, no,
it
I'm
kind of
asking it.
works.
I'm asking. He. To be clear, I'm not.
That's an insane take. So basically, you guys are basically just fighting. I'm assuming she's a woman, a modern woman thinker. She's just a modern woman thinker, and she fight for equality. But in this case, equality cannot happen. You see how that happened, folks? So she's fighting for equality. However, equality cannot happen. Isn't that insane?
Not asking for anything. He is asking for a fairer system that gives anonymity to both sides until
That's
there's a
it.
verdict. And
Why
I think
not?
There's a lot of merit to that. The more of these young men I interview who are on the receiving end of fantasists or people who juries don't believe, who then have to live with a stigma for the rest of their lives, the more I'm leaning to thinking, well, why don't we just have anonymity on both sides? Makes sense.
So this has been considered.
So anonymity, whatever they say it, however they say it, it's only for the girl, for not the guy, and she's defending the fact that we do it that way. Isn't that insane? It's all about power, folks. All about power.
Occasions. It was considered back in the 1970s. It was considered back in the 1980s. It
Here we go
was
with the
considered
bullshit.
in 2010 with a coalition government. And on each occasion, when the evidence was properly looked at, the decision has always been that actually it doesn't make a difference in terms of the outcomes for the defendant, but it absolutely makes a difference in terms of the outcomes for alleged victims and whether they are coming forward.
All BS.
And I heard you in the interview, of course, address the issue that we all know that we have such low reporting.
Ah, man. Address the issue, but don't bring solutions, right? Address the issue. That's what it is. Address the issue, no solution.
Figures in terms of allegations of rape.
Yeah, and that is completely wrong. But I still have a lot of sympathy with this guy's argument.
Or make it both public. Like if you're going to accuse someone, make it public. Why does one side get to be private and one public? That doesn't make any sense.
Kevin?
Yeah, look, if anything.
Look at him. He almost have a stroke, huh? Look at this, folks.
Private and one public. That doesn't make any sense.
Kevin?
Yeah, look, if anything, I'd row it back. Like we have, as I say now, you can't report if somebody is arrested. You know somebody can be arrested. There might be, there's a politician, there's an MP who's under investigation for rape, and he's been arrested. He doesn't go to the House of Commons, and we can't name him legally.
Yeah.
We're in the wrong world.
I think at the very least, what this case should do is lead to a new debate about this.
Yeah, but we don't know why to cloak.
Yeah, I think you guys are making it too complicated just to defend a party. I don't know. I'll see you in the next one.